Okay, now we're going to do a floor series. I try to do a floor series every day. I think it's really important the older we get to get your body down on the floor, and actually you can call it yoga. I incorporate yoga and Pilates and some other movements that I've learned over the years. But basically I'm going to show you a real quick series. If you've done any of those practices, you can incorporate whatever you want. But the general idea is to have some sort of warm-up. So I usually do the Tai Chi warm-up first. Once you memorize that series of the 18-point Qigong, you can usually do it in about 8 minutes. 8 minutes is about the time that it takes your body to convert from being sedentary to an aerobic movement. So I've already got the energy going. If you don't have time to do Tai Chi or you want to do something else, you can do a walk, whatever it is. But basically at least 8 minutes of something that's getting your body moving so you're loosened up and warm. So then I come to the floor series, and usually the first thing I do is get down to the ground. So however, starting on your mat, however you want to get there, the idea is that we're going to work all 4 planes of our body: the front, the back, and both sides. And when we do that, you can do a variety of different things, and you may have other stuff, but what the idea is, just think about that. If you work all 4 sides, and you're going to be nice and strengthened and lengthened and ready to have everything loose for the day. So to start with, I'm going to do some very beginner moves here. If you're more advanced, you can move into other things. And if you, like I said, if you know stuff from yoga, and if you're comfortable with it, fit it in. But otherwise, I'm going to really do kind of a basic quick series here for the 4 sides. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is get down to the ground. Sometimes I like to come into a squat position. So if your feet and ankles are good with that, don't do anything that hurts. I like to start here. But if your feet, and I like to stretch to the sides and just really open up on the squat position. I do a lot of camping, so I like to make sure that I can squat and pee in the woods. But if your feet are not comfortable with that, that's something you can work up to. The next thing is to go into basically a kneeling position. Whenever we have our hands on the ground, we want to make sure that all 4 points of our palm are flat and our fingers are extended. And this will protect your wrists. So basically, all 4 points down, coming into your hips or over your knees, and your nice solid kneeling position here. And we're going to go into some cat-cows. So the idea here is to inhale and bring your back up as far as you can, like a cat. I got a scared cat. Hold it for a second. Exhale and release down like a cow. Just big saggy. You're starting to open up and kind of go through this. This is really, we're opening up the spine, and we're still breathing with every motion, making sure that your hands are in that good solid position. Your shoulders are over your palms, so you're not stressing anything. Got the weight equally distributed. And sometimes you can see me moving my hips back and forth wherever it feels good. But do try and do that at least 4 to 6, 8 times. It's kind of the magic number. Then once I'm here, depending on what I'm in the mood for, I'm kind of facing the ground. I might want to lift up that foot. So I'm just basically doing, these are called donkey kicks. And so I'm starting to loosen up the hips. I'm really still keeping that good solid hand position. I think I'll do 6 of these today, and then I convert right into what I have a little dog Raj. I call it peeing like Raj on a fire hydrant. Do 4 around like I'm lifting my leg to go, I'm a dog, and then reverse it. Again, thinking about holding that position still with your hands so you're over a nice supported position here. And think about that foot just kind of going to the sky. And then back down, then do the other side. And you can bring the knee into the elbow if that feels good. You can adjust these for what feels good for you today. And then I'm gonna be Raj, my little dog again, and I'm going around in a circle and just opening up that hip and doing the donkey kick on the end. As many times as you want, but at least you want to get to a little bit of fatigue. And then I'm going to go reverse it. Always try to do equal on both sides. Okay, there we are. All right, now I'm feeling pretty good. I think I want to go up into a down dog. This is a classic yoga. I want to make sure my hands are very solid. Bring my feet down, and what I'm coming up to is trying to get my heels to the ground. And bring the tailbone to the sky. Hold a solid position here. It's stretching your hamstrings. Bringing your chest down to the ground and just kind of holding that. Really all the weight is on trying to put the weight towards the back of my foot and the back of my hand so that my fingers are actually kind of lifted. I'm not stressing my hands. You hold that there. For as long as comfortable, you can loosen your neck. Again, a lot of these are opening up the body. You can do kind of walking the dog, where you're stretching into one leg and then the other. And then if you're feeling good, you can bring your heel up and just stretch it as high to the sky as you can. You might want to do some more kicks there. Again, this is really up to you and what feels comfortable. If anything doesn't feel comfortable, stop doing it. And I do the same thing with the other side. Really, we're just opening up, starting to open up here. All right, when I come back down, I'm going to drop those knees, and I'm going to come forward, bring my hands so that when I come forward, that I am into a modified plank on my knees. And so I'm trying to be straight. I'm trying to make my straight from my head down to my knees and holding that position. And then you can just lower yourself, making sure that your elbows are tucked into your body, down to the ground. Hope you can see me still. Yep. And so you're down here, and this is the idea, is you're starting to stretch that upper back. And so as you come down, again, stretching your neck. My neck is sore today, so I'm doing a lot of those. What you want to do now, if you're in the mood, you can do push-ups here, just making sure that you keep your elbows tucked in and do a nice straight line. That'll help with your upper body strength, or you don't have to. Come on down. If you're experienced, you can go into a full plank by extending, taking your knees off the ground. Here, this is called a Sphinx position in yoga. And basically I've got my elbows under my shoulders, and I've got my hands out straight. And I'm basically stretching the upper back and letting that chest come forward. Again, stretching your neck. Really just allowing that upper back to release. Wherever you feel tight, take a breath and release. Again, my neck is sore today, so I am doing extra neck stuff. Looking to the right, looking to the left. And you want to hold everything for at least a few breaths, maybe up to 8, sometimes more if stuff is really tight. Another piece here is that I'm bringing my hands back to my chest. I'm going to lift up, and I'm going to go right back into a child's pose. So you can just do that. I want to make sure I stay on camera. So here's the idea that you go back into a child's pose, and this is the best stretch for your lower back. Hold it here and just release. Let your chest, your tailbone, everything. You can play around with whether you want your knees closer or farther apart, but just start with the stretch and gently relaxing into it. I like to keep my hands out here. Sometimes people will go back, but this allows me to open up the chest at the same time as I'm just sinking into the ground. This is really a gratitude pose for me, so sometimes I'll just turn my hands up and say thank you to whatever you believe in. And relax. Then after you've held that for a few breaths, as long as you want, as long as you feel good, kind of walk your hands to one side, stretch out that side body again, and then walk to the other side. And there's a whole lot more I can do in this downward facing position with my belly towards the mat, but I'm going to move to a side series for the sake of time. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'll face you. So I'm going to come here, and I'm going to get into however I need to, but the idea here is that I'm lining my hips up so that they are straight up and down. The top hip is over the bottom hip. And then I'm going to lay down, and I'm going to extend, and my hands are going to go out, my legs are out, and then I'm going to bring that bottom leg forward and the top leg back, and note that my hips stay straight. So let that top leg just hang down with your toe about 1 inch off the ground, and the top hand comes forward a little bit, so you're in this long lengthening stretch all the way down your body. This is getting you in position to do the side series, which is a very core Pilates series, and it really helps open the hips. And once I started doing it, it made a huge difference. So then once you're in a good position, you come up here. Sometimes if you're advanced, I'll come up higher, but I think we're just going to go here. So I support my head. Again, my hips are staying still here. I'm putting my hand here for support. I'm still in that position with the top leg back, and I am pointing my toes as I come forward as far as I can, and then I'm bringing it back. And you can play around. This is where I really start to work on my feet and my ankles. So you can do ankle circles, and it doesn't really matter whether you flex or point going forward or back, but just make sure that you're doing one or the other. And sometimes I flex coming forward, point going back. Whole point is I'm loosening. Now notice my hips are not moving. That's the point. So the back of my glutes are kind of facing here. My hips are straight up and down, just straight up and down. Holding that position, doing that at least 4 times. And then when you get done with that, kind of point your foot down. So see that my position here? Point your foot down. And this is called over the rainbow. I'm keeping my foot pointed down the whole time. My hips are not moving. Keeping your hips still, trying to go almost to touching the ground on both sides. And this is a good, really good opening up that hip. Okay. And then once we get there, we're going to stay back, and we've done our 4 to 8, however many more you want to do. Your foot is pointed to the ground. See, my back foot is pointed to the ground. My hips are staying basically saying I'm maybe leaning forward just a little bit, and I'm lifting that heel. And however many you want to do, I'm just going to do 4 to 6. You know, it doesn't really matter, but do as many until you start to feel it. Then what I do is I reach back and I grab my ankle. Now the point here is keep your knees together. So you see, as I grabbed, my knee went up. But before you start doing anything, put your knees together, release your head, and go into, this is a modified floor bow, basically in yoga. So I'm pulling my foot back, I'm opening up the front of my body, and I'm reaching back, kind of still keeping my hips lined up, stretching out that whole front of the body and the quadricep. Take some breaths there. And when you're ready, come back up, put your hand back under your head. Now we're going to grab that ankle from the inside. We're going back behind it and grabbing it and bringing it up as far as you can. And you really start to feel the stretch in your butt. So bring it up as far as you can and let that stretch out. You can roll around a little bit, release it. Again, we're releasing all the stress that especially as women, we carry in our hips. My bottom leg is still in exactly the same position. It hasn't moved. And what I'm going to do now is just lift it up and do some leg raises. All right. Then usually what I do is I'm getting ready. So I finish this side. Now I want to go to the other side, but I usually do kind of an interlude here. So I'm going to go back into the Sphinx position, back to my belly real quick because I've got that side loosened up. I'm going to put so you can do Sphinx first. Release your neck, feel good. If your back is feeling good, and this is only if, you can bring your hands back towards your chest and come up into an upward dog. I really like this stretch for myself, but be very careful. You don't want to put pressure on your lower back, and come up only as far, and you really use your back to lift up. So there's not as much. I'm trying to use my back. My hands are supporting, but they're not the only thing. And you can release the front of your hip flexors. Here, because I carry a lot of stress in my neck, I'm bringing my shoulders down, and I'm putting my chin to the sky and making weird faces, and really opening up the face and the neck. Okay, so that's there. There's some other things you can do here, like if you want, I won't do them, but you can do swimmer, you can do other things, you can do a floor bow position, like this, if you feel like it. There's a variety of other things you can do there, but for now, for sake of time, I'm now going to spin and switch to the other side, do the other side series real quick. Now I've talked you through it, but I'm going to do some reminders. So again, we're going to line up, straight line, hands above, feet out, together. Then we're going to bring that top leg back, right, a top arm forward, so that we have that long stretch, and our hips are straight up and down. And then when you reach down, you're lined up. Bring your head back up, okay? Then we're going to do the forward first. Remember, your toes are pointing down. Then your toes are still pointing down. You stop here, however many you want to do. Toes pointing down to the back. Keep your hips still. And really work that, open up that hip over the rainbow. Okay, then raise your heel to the sky. However many you want to do. Then we go into the modified floor bow. Again, keeping your knees together, that top knee is down, opening up and just stretching back and pulling back and opening that front of your body. Nice open stretch. When you're ready, bring your hand back, reach through, bottom foot is still there, and bring that around, bring that ankle up and just stretch into the hip. Roll around a little bit and feel that stretch with your foot on the ground, and you can really open up that hip. Feels good. I'm going to do some inner thigh lifts. However many you want to do, I'm just going to do 4 for sake of time. And then we're back together. All right, so that is the side series. Sometimes I'll go back and do back into the modified plank. You can do more here if you want. But I like to come back into, again, child's pose, just to release. Releasing the hips. All right, we're going to do a little bit more belly work, core work. So I'm going to come back onto my bottom. And we're just going to do a few things here. There's a lot of different core things we can do, but I'll show you some basic ones. In Pilates, they do what they call the hundreds, where basically you're trying to get in this position. Now, if that's too hard, you can put your feet down. But the idea is that you're bringing up into a V shape. So bring your feet up as far, just off the ground. Sometimes they're on the ground still. Or ideally, you're trying to get to this V, and you're trying to be here. And in Pilates, they count to 100. I'm not going to do that. They do with a lot of breaths. Or you can do it here. And when you get to whatever number you're going to today, then you can go ahead and just relax down. That's the first one. Let's see, the other one I want to show you. Oh yes, I have my favorite water skiing trick here. So again, I'm kind of short in this room, but reach far above in your head. Stretch out all the way and pretend like you are grabbing the tow rope on a water ski boat. And gently roll up 1 vertebrae at a time and then forward as far as you can go. Let that pull rope is still holding. And sometimes like here I relax into as far down as you can go. If you're only here, that's fine. As far as you can go to really just release forward. And then when you're ready, come back up to a nice straight sitting position, grab that tow rope again, and we're going to roll down as slow as you can possibly go, 1 vertebrae at a time. And then your arms back over your head. Let your arms just hang there right above the ground. You can feel that in your triceps and your shoulders. And let's do it again. And ideally, you're going to be doing this, 5, 10, 20 times, but as many times as you can, coming back up, all the way over, release, all the way back up, and then roll down slowly, 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 slowly. It's the holding and the strength in the core that really helps increase that muscle. There you go. Okay, so that's that one. All right, I'm going to do a couple more things on my back just to show you. You're probably familiar with a standard bridge, which we do in yoga a lot. And so here is where I start to do that. Again, I'm strengthening the front. There are lots of ab things that you can do in this position. You can do kind of traditional curls. You can do all sorts of things. You can grab. A really good thing is to roll like a ball. In Pilates, you do that where you're really just gently rolling on 1 vertebrae at a time. You can bring your feet up into the sky. I'm just showing you some things here. But here, just really curl in, tuck as far as you can, open everything up. So back to the bridge. This is an idea where you got both feet down and you just point up, 1 vertebrae at a time and hold it for as long as you can. And then gently release back down. And then open up your hips a little bit. Sometimes we do windshield wipers, where we're letting our knees just kind of go from side to side. Again, back up to a bridge. Because hips are often tight for me, I often do what I call a figure 4, where I bring the one ankle up and I bring the knee back. I'm trying to get the knee away from my head, but my foot is on my other knee. And so what I'm doing here is opening up my hips, bringing this up here, And bringing that foot to the sky. And again, you can do some more foot and ankle things here. And back down. And hold it. You know, spend some time here, as much time as you'd like. And then I bring that foot all the way down, put my arm out straight, holding on to my knee here with my hand. And I'm going to keep my right shoulder on the ground and stretch all the way across. So I've got this nice lateral twist, and it really just releasing that knee to the ground gently, gently. If you feel like it, you can extend that foot and let that just the weight of your foot kind of open up this whole twist. And then feel I can get a lot of cracks from my back that way. It feels good. So I'm doing that and coming back up. Again, there's a whole lot of things that you can do here, where you can do, you know, circles with your foot and leg. Again, there's, depending on how much time you have, spend some time on your back. Just to make things even, I'm going to do the other side today. And so I'm going to again do figure 4, where I've got my ankle on here and my knee is going away from my body. I can also come up here and hold this and bring my ankle away from my body. That's a really good one for getting your butt in shape and opening up again. So I go here, I want to loosen up. Really loosening up that hip in whatever way feels good to you. This is all about making sure that all of the parts of your body are loose and fluid and getting rid of the ash. I bring my knee up, squeeze that in. A lot of the squeezing when you do that is it's really helping your internal organs process the residue, the ash as they call it, from all the things that you did yesterday, all the stress that you were holding. So you bring your foot over and just let it hang, kind of opening up that side body, keeping that left shoulder this time down on the ground. All right, so come back up here. So this is all I'm going to show you for today. We're going to come up back up and just finish off because of time. I'd like to do another stretch. I'm going to do one more roll up. And if you need to bend your knees here when you're doing these, that's okay. You know, usually I try to keep them down, but I'm trying to come from a core. So I'm going to roll back up and I'm going to turn and face you. Sometimes I'll just do this on my mat. But the idea here, so now we've done all 4 sides of our body. I'm sitting up straight and tall. I like to finish with another twist where I bring my one leg up, so I'm bringing my left leg up. I'm sitting up really tall and giving it a big squeeze. I'm squeezing out all the stuff I just moved around. I'm going to bring that over, bring my hand up and bring it down behind me, so I'm putting it flat on the ground. I'm going to take my other hand up, straight and tall. And then I'm going to bring that down to the outside of my knee and I'm going to turn and twist. And here I'm wringing out and opening up. When I'm ready, I come back gently, bring that knee to the ground, sit up straight. I'm going to lean with my hand to the outside of my leg. So go as however you want. It's a slight twist, but it's also leaning forward, keeping your back kind of straight, bringing your nose down towards your feet and opening up those hips, just letting it relax. And come back up. We're going to do the other side. Here you go. Squeeze that knee up. When you're ready, bring it to the other side. That hand back. This hand up, nice and straight. Down to the outside and twist. Oh, that feels so good. Letting everything go, coming back, bringing that down. Again, you can take as much time, more time if you'd like on any of these. I'm reaching across, doing it to the outside of my left leg, leaning down. I've got my hand just kind of out in the air as I'm getting a nice full body twist and stretch over my hip. And then back up. I'm going to bring everything back together. And I'm going to do one more. Stretch up really high and tall. Release forward into a forward fold. This is our last forward fold where we're really just letting the back, all the stress go. And bring down, come down as far as you'd like. Just hold it. Let your head relax. Breathe. Okay, come back up. And now what I usually do is go back into, kind of coming back, because I like that squat because I do a lot of camping, I'm going to roll back up on my feet. But however you want, you can get up and through that cat-cow position, hands, knees, however works for you. I come up here, I do one more final stretch, and you'll see I'm going to say goodbye as I do one more standing forward fold, come to standing, and then turn it off, but I'll go out of the camera. So hope this all works wonderfully for you. It's about 25 minutes. You can spend as much time as you want, but if you do these every day, you will not seize up like the Tin Man, and you will feel great. So wonderful. Have a great time. Bye. One vertebrae at a time. I'm standing. I'm ready to go meet the day. Ta-ta.